Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I see that we start to get seeing some people. I recognize faces from Europe, from Africa, United States, Asia, India. I see here Pakistan. So it's a pleasure to meet you all. I've been to 143 countries, some of them 60, 70 times, and I met many of you. And this is the beginning, the humble beginning of hopefully a long journey together where we'll bring all the partners across the world together. I'm actually very excited today because it's after so many travels across the world, I finally had the time to put all together and sit down and connect all the partners for a big mission. And indeed, it's a big mission. It's perhaps the biggest mission that we will be part of, that humanity is ever engaged in. If you sit at a dinner table with your family or friends or colleagues and you ask what's the biggest topic that preoccupies humanity, the biggest problem that we face as humans today, something that's even bigger than, I don't know, the conflict in Ukraine and Gaza, or curing cancer, or climate change. It is how humanity will survive this amazing transformation that we're undergoing because of artificial intelligence. And some people look at it in a very scary way. Some people are extremely enthusiastic about it. But what I'm here about to do for you as partners is to invite you in this journey to solve this big problem in a very pragmatical, practical, and humane way. I am personally on the team human. I'm not here to create an elitistic society driven with machines. And I'm very passionate about this, as I'm sure you have recognized from all the information that I pestered you with, many of you get on a daily basis. So why are we today here? I'll try to answer three questions. Why partnering with EON? What exactly that entails, and how can we do it together? I will not be able to cover everything. So think about this today as an appetizer, introduction. And I'm going to cover a lot of ground on a very short period of time. We have about 30 minutes at our disposal. And this will be a series. So think about it as the introduction to a long series to come. So on that note, let's get going. So the value partner meeting today is to help you join this journey for the humanity's AI transition. We call it the future of work, but it's going beyond work, right? This is the moment. This is the moment that many of us have feared or dreamed about, in my case, dreamed about, and the moment has now arrived. And what we're talking about today is how practically we can solve this crisis. And when I say crisis, I really mean it, because AI will displace millions of jobs, will create new jobs, entire sectors. Perhaps the most important job today in terms of volume, or the largest volume of people, is driving a vehicle. We all agree that that is disappearing fast. And something else will come. And what that something else is doesn't depend on leaders, doesn't depend on politicians necessarily. It depends on us, how we use this technology, how we use this solution. So the idea is to take this anxiety and convert it to something that's positive and constructive. So instead of fearing about losing your job, losing your income, we want to help people to reskill them to the new future and to come to a future of abundance. And we are not just talking in fluffy ways. We will describe exactly step by step how you can take your customers, your partners, and execute this. And reskilling at the scale that's unprecedented. And that's what I mean by the value reseller or value partner revolution. Now let's look a bit at the challenge. The challenge is actually our market. So the displacement that I'm talking about is universal. Every country, every industry, every school will be affected by us. I'm talking about governments, I'm talking about corporation and academia. It is a big change. And now, how do we do that? So our mantra, and you're going to hear it over and over and over again, is very simple. Skills, jobs, and income. We have a reskilling engine that can actually very quickly transform the people from today's jobs and today's activities to the future. When we can do it 4 times faster, we can make it in a way that people retain information longer. But we are not satisfied with skills. We're also going to talk about jobs. And jobs will be there, new jobs will be there, but not enough. So we're also going to talk about entrepreneurship. We have various programs, and I'll describe them very briefly today. I'm not going to have time to go through all of them. One of the more important one is called the Wealth Weaver. And that's what I see when we go beyond jobs, right? In places like Global South, like Africa, where there are not enough jobs, but there's a lot of problems. I call it high problem density. And that's where our Wealth Weaver comes to play. We can solve those problems using the Wealth Weaver program, generate wealth, prosperity for families and individuals. And we can also, with these programs, transform industry. And I'm going to be very concrete when I go through that, how we can do it. Now, to do all this, we will empower you as our partners, as our resellers, as our academic partnerships, and you will get a lot of benefits of this. It has to be worthwhile your effort because there's going to be a big effort. This comes with white label brand ownership, global partner support, etc. And we are sharing with you a number of global cases. I have the privilege to enjoy all these use cases. Just a few minutes ago, I was on the phone with Aramco. Last night, I was sitting in Guatemala. So there's a lot of things happening that we can cross-pollinate across the world. Now, of course, big effort requires big rewards. So you all will be recognized, and EON has accelerated its revenue program, where you will get typically up to 30% and sometimes even more of the revenue generated on the platform side, but also up to 100% of the service revenues. So this is something that's worthwhile your time. Now, how do we do this? How do we build this new economy together? How do we create this history? And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about how we, instead of be crushed by this tsunami that's coming, how we can ride it, right? So you all seen EON Reality, the key steps here. We talked about skills, jobs, and income. And another way to present skills, jobs, and income is in terms of our platform. And there's 3 slides that are important today. This slide, what our platform is, which are the segments, which are the 3 key segments, and our strategy and programs. That's the only 3 slides that you need to know. Each of these 3 slides, when you click on one of these, will have a description behind it, including a PowerPoint, a video, a white paper, a landing page, many things around it. So you have a full information. Obviously, we talk about more than 1,000 pages if we were to do everything. So I'm not going to do everything today, but I'm going to give you some highlights. So with that said, well, let's start with the platform first. And then we're going to go to segments, and then we're going to go to strategy and programs. So the platform, we all seen this so many times, learn, train, perform. I'm not going to go through that. I'm just going to explain a little bit what's new. One of the things that are really exciting and new is that we are now going beyond just automated AI creation where the avatar points at different things. We have now enabled the capability to actually do high-level interaction, almost like a video game where you can interact, you can push buttons, and things are happening in real time. This can have impact not only nothing here is physical, right? So a good example of that, you can take any object. You can take something like a tank. We were just sitting with some people in Thailand where they are using this for personnel tanks for defense, or Romania has the same issues. But you can have a tank, it's very expensive, right? Or a truck for mining, that's $25 million. But we can create a virtual one.
Or enforcement action.
And this virtual one can be, is something you can interact. In this case, I'm using my phone to interact with a virtual component. And this is one of the, let's say, 36, almost 40 million assets that we are using. And this can be used for anything. We were just with our Indian partner recently showing an example for sanitary workers. This is something rather basic, but let's have a look. So when you interact with it, you click on things, things happen. So AI is becoming much more interactive for training. Now, the idea is that we are changing the status quo from today. If you want to learn something, you either go to a school, it's brick and mortar, capital intensive, fixed assets, slow curriculum updates up to 8 months, or you go to online, which is low engagement, poor retention, or you go to the third way, which is our way, which is this ability to create. So what's the benefit with that? The core value is that you can create things in as quickly as 80 seconds, right? You push a button, you take traditional text to immersive environments. You have a huge library. If you were to buy all the drones or the machines, you talk about more than $53 billion labs, right? And you also have Brainy. You'll see Brainy again and again, which is this 24/7 mentor always available for you. Now, so that's for the skills part, but we also have something called Career Compass, and most of you know about it, so I'm not going to talk about that today too much, but the ability to go from just traditional skills to actually getting your job with Brainy.
Friendly AI mentor. Welcome to the EON Career Compass.
And this is available today. You can on the platform, so it's not a preview, it's actually fully available. And then we need to go from jobs to something we call, in this case, Wealth Weaver and Entrepreneur Guide. And again, we have solutions there.
Executive summary. I'll create a professional one-page review of your business concept.
So I'm not going to talk about that either today, but most of you have seen these products. Now, how do we put it all together? How do we make sure that we are not the tail of the dog that kind of in the back end and led by LMS and other systems in the front end? This is what we do with the AI Income Academy and the Virtual Campus. That's an all-encompassing academy. We started with the basics for things like K-12. And let's...
Whether you're a visual, auditory, or kinesthetic learner, I'll help.
So, and then we migrated to things like TVET and universities. I want to show you a little bit of how Virtual Campus, imagine this as a solution instead of what you see online. And a live 24/7 Brainy that you can interact with. Let's have a look. This example is something we've done for Saudi Arabia.
Welcome to the Colleges of Excellence Virtual Campus. I am Brainy, your guide. Here, you don't just study online, you enter an immersive journey that connects your skills to jobs and your learning to Vision 2030.
Assalamu alaikum. I wasn't accepted into a traditional university. Do I still have a future here?
Of course. This campus is designed for students like you, wherever you are in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, so I'll send you this video, but this takes you to the whole journey, right? So the full immersiveness, every course that you have is fully simulation based, all the way, and to the engagement assessment and certification.
Memorization. With your diploma, you'll also receive international certificates and licenses recognized by...
So this is just a sample of what we mean. So there is no more LMS. LMS is in the background. There is no more website. This is your campus, right? So on that note, how do we address the faculty member? One big issue when we engage is that people want faculty are skeptical to this. So this becomes a bit of the faculty's concern. How do we have a solution we call faculty first blueprint? And there's many concerns. And here, by the way, that's when I'm looking at the clock here. I'm not going to be able to go through this in detail. So I'll go into this format here so you can see all the slides. And then I'm going to just jump around a little bit to give you some color. So what are the concerns that faculty members have? Let's take a few of them. One of them is that 92% of students today, for example, Harvard, use AI to cheat, to actually do their homework on essays without having to do the full work. So our solution is what we call integrity proof. So it's the end of cheating. So what do I mean by that? Today, you can just disconnect your brain, put in ChatGPT the questions, and let AI do the work for you. Obviously, that's not a very good solution. And of course, you can use AI detection, but that doesn't work because there's other software that can overcome that barrier. So the idea is, instead of talking or writing, you're doing. EON is all about simulation-based engagement, which eliminates this type of cheating. And the practical way to do it is that we have the skill simulators, we have the data flywheel, we have the soft skills software that requires you to interact in real time, and all is encompassed in the AI builder. So before, you have essays with multiple choices, that's easy to cheat. After, you have AI resistant performance simulation. Faculty members love this because it's very practical, right? Another example is, we see this all the time. The degrees don't match the jobs. So for that, we come up with something called a syllabus sync. So when we enter an academic institution engagement, we actually have a tool that allows you to match those things. What I mean is, stop teaching yesterday's skills, right? What I also mean is that we're using syllabus sync with a career compass to see what students want to do, with the curriculum analyzers that verify, even in a zip code, if what you're teaching is relevant, right? And we have the complete solution for that. Another example is the accreditation nightmare. We all know, if you've been in academia, that there's a lot of requirements that they need to satisfy. And for that, we have a solution. We capture the student's performance, we tag everything, all the experience against the accreditation standards, we log it, and we generate the reports immediately, painlessly, without too much effort. So again, focusing, how can we make life easier for faculty members? Another example is, today, the old version of EON, you talk with an avatar, he remembers everything you do within the session, but what happens when you deliver the session? So what we've done is, now we have implemented Memory Vault that remembers things between. So it has an episodic, semantic, and procedural memory. And this enables you to actually know what happened from a course to the other, to do stackable lessons that then create stackable courses that then create the certificate, and then they create the diploma. And throughout this, the avatar is with you all the time, remembers everything. Another thing is, what about no experience, no job? Here's the fix. What I mean by that is, this is when we go and help universities, not only to give them a degree, but actually to connect you with a real job, to give them a real job. So there's a whole, we have identified globally which markets are in demand. We have developed premium courses for healthcare, for cybersecurity, for green energy. But then we also adapt it, as you'll see in a second, in each region. So for example, the demand in US is very different from the demand in, let's say, Australia, right? So another problem is, no skills, no future, right? So how do we do that? We have now introduced premium career courses, right? So we have built certificates that actually will get you that job. So these are some examples. I can continue here. Obviously, you understand that I will skip this for now, but those are all different methods to satisfy the faculty's request. Okay. So let's move on. One thing that is very excited, so of course, with this comes success stories, as you can see here. Perhaps the most exciting technical thing I'm going to talk about today is two products that are coming this year. One is called Genesis, and one is called EON Sentient. Genesis is the holodeck. So if you, Genesis, remember, if you ever seen the holodeck, you can say, I want to be in the Roman Empire. I want to be in a hospital. So it's a world builder. Instead of having static contact or static 360, you can go to ancient Rome, to a molecular lab, and it actually builds the world. Not a 360, not a static environment, but a full walkable environment. And we add, this is a technology that we're working with Google called Genie 3, that we then add all the annotation, missions, agents, and this can be used for historical cultural immersion. This can be used for science and medical training. This can be used to say how is a day in the life of being a firefighter or, you know, someone of GSWIS on NASDAQ, right? So Genesis has all these attributes. It's not a game. It's actually a full, serious learning environment. And it's a huge market, right, as if you think about it. So that's one product I'm very excited about. Another product that I'm excited about is the virtual campus. You saw the Saudi Arabia example. I'm not going to go through that right now. But I want to cover one more, which is Sentient. So Sentient, I'm not sure I have the slide for that. But what Sentient does is combining Genesis, this world, with an avatar, with Brainy that you insert. And by doing that, you create, you can do every single one of millions of scenario standard operation procedure. So I call it the AI inside another AI's mind. This is literally mind-blowing. What I mean, an AI, let's digest it for a second, an AI inside another AI's mind. This is the future learning, in my opinion. So what we're doing is, think about it like this. You have a static contact. You say, I want to go to Transylvania and I want to visit Dracula's castle. That's actually a real place, right? And then rather than me going, I send my agent and I give him different missions, right, to discover different things. And he's going to go in this environment. And as he goes in different rooms, the rooms are built in front of him. So the simulation is affected by the agent, and the agent, so it's an AI that affects another AI, and it's happening all dynamics and becomes a symbiotic loop. And that can be extremely helpful if you want to do, for example, the 54 different standard operation procedure for engine repair. It becomes an infinite simulator. It becomes an infinite career compass reimagined, right? I mean, you don't have to have a lot of fantasy to realize that this is amazing. Again, when is this product coming? Also by the end of this year. So we're not talking futuristic things, we are talking practical things. Okay? So those are some things that I thought it will be useful to highlight when it comes to products. Now let's go to segments. So with these products, which segments do we address? Historically, we've been doing a lot of work, if we go back 10 years in enterprise, but the last few years, the 5 years, we focus more on academia and government. So what we're doing now is each segment addressing the needs in academia, and they are different for higher education, TVET, and K-12, and even different for different geographies. And likewise into government, national agency versus regional agency versus workforce development. And also, we have picked about 12 industries where we can add significant value, and there is a huge demand. Because keep in mind, we need to have the jobs in mind all the time. So for example, I'll use US because I'm in US right now. We have a crisis here because of what's happened with Donald Trump and the fact that students have declined. Most universities, including the one I'm engaged with here, have lost 35% of their revenue. That means they have a demographic time bomb. Traditional responses fail. So they are like a crossroad. Either they continue on this path, which leads to decline, or they transform themselves. So what we came up with, different revenue models for them to help them transition to this positive solution. One of them is we have virtual international campus. So you don't have to have a visa to come US. You can study at Harvard or other locations internationally using the virtual campus, corporate training, space utilization, and many other things that helps them overcome this short-term burden. That's a short-term solution. What about the long-term fix? Now, here's the benefit, here's the paradox. In America, at the same time as universities are collapsing, we have a 2.4 trillion skills gap, right? What do I mean by that? Universities enrollment decline, they have underutilized assets, industry is booming, escalating as never before, right? And technology, they need technology that can scale fast. So we are creating this golden triangle that benefits university, monetizing their underutilized labs, benefits industry, addressing their huge demand for upskilling that they have currently, and benefits also technology and yourself, our partners in US and elsewhere, by implementing this and generating revenue. There are huge grants, for example, in US, $3.2 billion to address this. And this is we are setting up these golden triangles across the nation at the moment. Now, when we do that, we think about what's in need. What's one of the biggest needs that AI generates? Energy, right? In US alone, we have a $2 trillion energy opportunity. This is same in China, same in most countries across the world, right? And these have a lot of challenges, safety challenges. There's a big retirement wave. There's regulatory complexity. And we have developed a very comprehensive solution. We've been working 25 years in energy. We know that market very, very well, with companies everywhere from Exxon to Aramco to utilities. Another big deal here in US is the reshoring, right? And this is not US alone, it's a global issue. All nations learned from COVID-19 that we need to have manufacturing locally so we become independent if something happens, right? We see that in places like also India, right? A lot of manufacturing coming in. And this is not your normal manufacturing. There's this joke where you see, I think a Chinese meme where you see Americans overweight trying to put together Nike shoes. We don't talk about that. We talk about cobots, right? Human-robot collaboration skill. We talk about quality control in precision manufacturing. We talk about predictive maintenance. Those are the type of cross-training and flexibility. Of course, safety, the more robots you have, the more risk you have, is very important. So I can go on and go on. I'm not going to go all of them, but I just going to highlight a few. Let's go up here. Electric vehicles is a big deal, right, for us. And especially now when you combine electric vehicles with automation, most self-driving vehicles. Another big deal is aerospace and defense, right? And the introduction of drones. We have a lot of projects there. A huge deal is healthcare. The triple challenge in healthcare, as you all know, is to improve patient outcomes at the same time that you enhance patient experience and workforce complexity. We have a long three-year standing chalk, multi-million-dollar contract just for Children's Hospital, where we help them with this type of solutions. It used to be see one, do one, teach one, but that's not longer enough. We have enormous amount of investment in medical devices, but a lot of nurses don't know how to use it. We have huge deficit in patient communication and the ability to have a AI-driven patient encounters using soft skills. So there's enormous amount of work that needs to be done in healthcare. Construction is another big deal across the world, right? Especially now. And there we have the issues with the three-front crisis, right? With labor shortage, safety of imperative, etc. So in the interest of time, I will skip all this right now. I will not talk about first responder, although first responder is something that I see it in Nepal just happened now, that people need to react to the issues that occur. They've happened across the world. We have them here in US. They are very, France is on strike right now. And how do we de-escalate? What type of technology do you use to do that? How do you perform under stress? Etc., etc. Mining, we learned the dear lesson that every country needs to be self-sustained with minerals so they can produce, for example, rare earth is one of the area. And there is huge cost there, right? An excavator costs $20 million. To spend $2 million to do a training simulator for that, it's a no-brainer, right? So I hope you see that it's not just fluff. This is very concrete. To end these segments, I will end up with data centers. We are transforming the Earth into data centers. Just one of the data centers that Meta is building now here is almost as big as Manhattan. Imagine the size of Manhattan filled with computer after computer after computer. And this requires uptime. The cost of a small data center being stopped is $9,000 a minute. Huge benefits. It's very complex. There's a whole retraining of workforce that has to be done in this context. Okay, so that's enough about segment. I will end with strategy and programs. So you will get a lot of good materials. Again, you click on everything here, you get a presentation. I will highlight just a few programs. We obviously have a handbook for you as a value-added partner, but we also are launching something very exciting, which is the next generation. This is generation number 5 of our entrepreneur pathway. We are recruiting more than 100, just at our headquarters, more than 100 people, young students, but we will want to do this with you also. To help these young individuals with skills, jobs, and income everywhere. And we see the generational risk. Degrees no longer guarantee job. In fact, today there's a lot of unemployed youth, which is a waste. We risk to lose a whole generation. AI is the new electricity, right? Traditional skills are obsolete. Global South has an enormous potential. So most of our people that we recruit now are actually from Global South. Okay, and this is happening fast. So in the next 5 to 10 years, their destiny will be sealed, and there's need to augment. I'm not saying to replace universities or TVET, but we need to complement them because they move too slow, and oftentimes, especially in America, they are too costly, right? So we designed this very detailed pathway, starting with Wayfinder. What's Wayfinder? It's a test that anyone can undergo if you have applicants, and it will check your AI-powered assessment, identify your courage, your aptitude, the emotional intelligence, your IQ, your ability to think multilateral, your communication skills, and we are eating our own dog food. We use simulation. What better way to validate these people? We are very tough about acceptance. We accept just a few. So it's especially an internship. There's 4 paths. One of them is the internship path. There's a path we call the Cobras. This is actually people that are engaged in sales. We have the Wealth Weaver. These are the ones that graduate themselves straight to develop their own companies that we support and invest in. And they are real outcomes. By the way, all universities that I'm engaged with in academic institution have some type of incubator. But if you look under the hood, there's very seldom that I've been impressed with the structure. So there's a lot of help there. We even have programs we can sell them, full incubators with these programs. So this will have a huge impact, obviously, on communities. And the call to action here is an invitation is to join this. And if you are interested, we have an ad out right now today. You can apply, you can go on a wait list. Today we have more demand than we can cope with. We had 3,000 applicants for less than 30 positions that we had now. So, okay. So there's a lot of questions that these people ask. Okay, what's in it for me? What do I get out of this? Of course, you get skills, you get AI certification, XR entrepreneurship, you get the job opportunities, you get income opportunities. What does it cost? Nothing. We don't charge for it. This is something we do for free. Obviously, it's in our self-interest. The best people out of the 3 months we recruit, they can earn money. They don't need a degree. We actually, in fact, love dropouts with courage. But and there's also after the program, they have different opportunities. So what we like to do is to work with you and have those. Maybe you get 5, 10 different to start with, and then you have these people on a daily basis to work with you, learn, and eventually become your best ambassadors. And this is a global program that we are launching at the moment. Okay, so that's it. The last thing I want to say is talk about the Wealth Weaver. We are thinking a lot of post-employment crisis when accountants, customer service representatives, legal assistants, market research analysis, retail clerks, graphic designer, taxi drivers, paralegals, and all these jobs become obsolete and are replaced by something else. Not everybody will get the job, and we have a lot of ways to do it. We looked at all the models, what to do. There's something called universal basic income. There's something called jobs guarantees. There's cooperatives. And we compared all those, and Wealth Weaver won on all categories as the best solution for humanity in this era. So again, time doesn't allow us today to go in detail on that. There's a whole description around this, what to do. Among those, I just kind of highlight a few. We have the Wealth Weaver Alliance, so you can actually set up your old Wealth Weaver program. Means that you will own percentages in companies started by young entrepreneurs. And by the way, I predict that in the next 5 years, most of people's revenue will not come from salaries, will come from agents that they own as a proprietor. And universities, academic institutions' main task will be to generate entrepreneurs. But you need to have a model, and we have that model. We have also something we call the EON AI Venture Gulf Initiative, which is to help with funding. We have something we call the Wealth Weaver Alliance in Saudi Arabia. We have the Entrepreneur Olympics. So each incubator we set up with the academic institution, which by the way is the part of the new grant. We have a $12 million grant that instead of, the old grant only had skills, now it has jobs, it has income, it has everything. And it includes also membership in the Entrepreneurship Olympics, which means that every incubator on a local level will conduct their competition. And to qualify, you need to have an MVP, minimum viable product. You need to have generated your first revenues. We invest in even at that level. And then the best one qualify for the national level. We are setting up national Wealth Weaver programs. And then the best ones go to the international level, which is a Shark Tank-like. And the price there is investments between $1 to $5 million. And this happens on a quarterly level. So the way, now what's in it for you? So how can you make money with EON? You make money, obviously, by selling the platform. You make money on the services that we give to you 100%. You make money for the Wealth Weaver program on the incubators. And then you get to own every setup of the business that we support. We share 50-50 with you, the ownership. And the way we charge these young startups, we do it by taking a small percentage of their ownership in the company, taking a small percentage of the revenue, but in return provide them with a marketplace. If we fund them and secure millions of dollars, we take also a small percentage. So our main interest there is to have enough funds to grow this. I predict that 5 years from now, 80% of EON's revenues will come from various baby EON AI ventures that we have funded. And that's going to be a very exciting future. Okay, I know I throw the kitchen sink at you with a lot of information, but rest assured, remember, there's only 3 slides that you need to remember. And I'll go back to that. It's the platform, which is the most important, skills, jobs, and income. Where we have the EON XR platform, we have the EON AI platform, we have the academy, the jobs, where we have the career compass, we have the syllabus sync, we have a premium course catalog, we have the virtual campus that, by the way, is going B2C. This is a new thing. We've been B2B all the way, but we realized that Sometimes universities and academic institutions are dinosaurs that move too slowly when we cannot deprive the students from the opportunity. So we have to help students individually, and you'll get access to that. And of course, income. I talked about the Wealth Weaver with the Wayfinder, the Entrepreneur School, the Entrepreneur Guide, etc. So that's the platform. Then we have the key segments. We talked about higher education. We haven't talked much about TVET. TVET is our biggest market, right? We also have a very exciting announcement, the 15th and 16th of October in Dubai, in conjunction with GITEX, the world's largest event for tech. And you are invited, where we have a big announcements to do with the largest private K-12 organization in the world, JAMS. We also have governments there. We're doing many national rollouts at the moment across the world, and those are pretty big. I'm talking millions of users. But we're also doing all the way to the innovation triangle that I just described. And then on the enterprise side, I don't want to repeat myself, but we are focusing where the jobs are, where the growth is, right? And this varies, as I said, from region to region. So we're gonna develop a strategy for each region together with you. And then finally, the programs, right? You, as a part of this, you get all the PowerPoints, you get the overview of the company, you get the detailed company presentation, the AI Academy, the national rollouts, you get the sales resource package, you get the value-added handbook, the entrepreneur pathway, the one I was describing, how we recruit entrepreneur, and you can get a free work resource for you as a part of that, that then you can employ if they meet your requirements. The Global South Initiative, the EON Learn for Life, which is our nonprofit arm, the Wealth Weaver Alliance, the Entrepreneur Olympics. We're also launching the baby EON AI Ventures. This is the small companies that now we are funding. And we are launching something new, exciting, which is the Future Skills Podcast. This is the Knowledge Kitchen, where we are inviting Vice Chancellor. For example, we have organizations in Africa that have more than 60,000 students. So we are talking with them about their view of the future. And this way we get more visibility in each location. One of the first one will be with Professor Rensburg. And he was the former Vice Chancellor of University of Johannesburg, which is top 3, top 4 in Africa. But we have the same with the former Nobel Prize Chairman Committee member, Professor Bertil Anderson. And as a part of that, we're also forming the Academic Innovation Committee to share experiences, what works, what doesn't work, what we can do better. Okay, I'm sure you have questions. Today is, if you have them, feel free to address me. We will have this every week, and you are welcome to contact me, and looking forward to engage in this very exciting journey. On that note, thank you so much. I have another meeting to run to. Looking forward to work together. All the best. Cheers. Take care.